Here we go. Coach Rush, how you doing, big dog?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, really good, man. Coach Rush is one of my really good friends, man, and I really appreciate him coming on and kind of back and clean up, getting into the afternoon sections, man. And also, happy birthday, bro.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. All right, so Coach, your presentation's up. You want to hit present? I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm gonna back out, and I'm gonna grab lunch real quick.
All right. Real quick, just a little bit of my information at the bottom, and it'll be at the end. I've got my Twitter set up and also my email. So if anybody wants this slideshow, I mean, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of a realistic game scenario into weekly practice schedules. I think this is something that we do really well, preparing our kids for Friday nights and Thursday nights in that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday framework. It's something that we really tried to kind of pick up on in terms of being able to develop something that transitions into the game. We take a lot of analytics and stuff through our film breakdown through the week, and then we try to implement that into practice scenarios. So one thing that I wanted to go over today is be able to show you or give you ideas on how to implement this into your practices to just get your kids built up on muscle memory. I know they said so many thousand reps get you to just react, and that's what we try to get our kids. And we got some video examples to show you today. So practice goals first. Is what are you trying to accomplish? What is your mission? What's your game plan that you're trying to initiate or implement that week basis on your opponent? Everybody's opponent's different, so I didn't get I was very generic here, but the old saying is make practice harder than the games. I'll give you a great example just real quick, kind of like a plug. What we did with our goal line set was called Kong. And so what we did, we realized it was really tough to stop with 11-man defense. So we started allowing our scout team to put 14, 15, 16, 17 guys because really we had our rules and we followed our rules. We wanted adversity there. So we were able to maybe stack the front where we had 10 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers just to give them something that was adversity against what they may get. Because, everybody wants to cram it down. They're going to get lower. They may cut. They may do other things. So it was a good way to kind of prep for that. The second thing that we really looked at was how do we implement a structure that's ever changing and how do we replicate Friday night? As every coach sits and looks, you don't really replicate a ton of stuff into Thursday. Some people are very vanilla running their base packages, but how do you make Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday feel like Friday nights? And that was something that we met as a staff, and we've came up with a pretty cool plan, over the years. Indie group team periods are good, but we've got to figure out how to get game reps with pressure, with focal points for our kids. But we also wanted to create pressure for us as coaches. The quickest thing is it's easy to be in a situation in practice where you're climatized to your front. You're able to give your one-on words to your position group. You're able to coach it up as you go, have stop-ins, have breaks where you teach. And we didn't want that. We wanted to make it because on Friday nights, we're on the sideline. And Friday nights, we've got the band blaring. We've got fans cheering. So we wanted to figure out how to make practice feel like those moments. So we were able to cultivate this into periods of high stress that require, supreme focus. And then the big thing that I want to address today is, how do we coach it and what does it look like? So goals of this session for you, it basically is learning outcomes and tools for your toolbox is we want to refresh the model, film it, teach it, and then make Friday come slower. I think I heard it in the movie 42. They were giving Jackie Robinson like how to deal with media is like, hear the questions or know the questions before they come. So I want us as coordinators and coaches to have the problems answered before they give us the real life example in the game. So really and truly, how do you design your practice? First thing is you got to have skill development indie periods. Everybody agrees to that. But keep your indie periods individualized. Make sure that you're teaching the EDDs and the drills in each position group that you want to see, especially if there's like small nuance changes for each opponent week to week. And that's the best way to integrate that to make sure there's a framework for what you expect as a coordinator. We all know that. Team periods, we want to have those every day. We try to have a team period RPO, team period screen, team period, inside run. We don't do inside run just the box. We bring everybody involved because that thing may bounce out. We want our receivers on corners have the good blocks and be able to get downhill and safeties. So we're able to do that every single day. Now, the thing that we've started to add more is what we call quick change. I know 2 sessions ago, Coach was talking about some of his one-word fastballs. We call them fastballs. So we give either a sports team that attaches to what our run game would be, or quick hitter RPO or quick hitter pass plays. But these fastball scenarios, we have those in game. They change a possession, time crunches, post penalty drives, anything goal line, anything third mid, third and large. We try to give those fastballs to those kids to just be able to transition tempo. And then the last thing that really is to focus in on what we're doing in our game realism is to build failure drives and adversity applications. So we try to pick a couple players. I give it to my coordinators every day in practice. Find somebody different, an offensive lineman that needs to be pushed, that maybe doesn't do well with adversity. Man, give him a couple hold penalties. Find ways to really make him just lock in. Look for things. Don't be afraid to call out your best players. Don't be afraid to call out your college guys. We believe that there's a stack. I don't want to say, well, that guy does it right, he's a senior. No, I want to be harder on him and give a little bit more allowances to that freshman and let him allow for growth. So we really try to find that. And in 2 minutes from the opposite, 20 down by 4, multiple penalties in a row to create unfocused behaviors or behind the sticks. We kind of want to try to get to where we're off schedule. Off schedule teaching is what we need to teach, because that's the one thing we don't prepare for a lot of times in practice. So practice structure. We want to find the hangover in practice. We're trying to find that time to where transitions typically slow. They go into water break, they come out slow, or we just kind of stumble into a period. So we try to find that hangover in practice and identify that week to week of where we want to focus these quick changeovers, these quick game scenarios. Everybody has a different term, but we want to amp the team up, get a good segue into a team period, a special teams period. A lot of times for us is coming out of a special teams period, there's kind of like a lull. So we wanted to throw these in there. And so these fastball situations, what we call fastball situations in practice, would be like, hey, we got a red zone scenario. We're looking at a 10-yard hold penalty. We're down by 4 points. We got a score. We're going to challenge backside offensive line to maintain blocks. Running back's going to cramp on play 3. So I'm telling my running back coach to have number 2 back ready to jump in. We want to do that because that maybe gets, the stud running back comes out, and now you have to implement your backup, and he's not expected in the middle of practice to fix and go run with the ones. Now we throw him out there. Hey, we got a score. We're down by 4. The other thing is defensively, we found in our team that after kickoffs, we would give up a big kickoff, and our defense was like a gut punch. Like, man, we're playing with short field. So we're returning to the plus side 45. Defense stopped to win the game in the fourth quarter. We would sub to a certain personnel package. Maybe it was lighter because it was a throw heavy scenario. Maybe we'd play without, our senior captains. We go in and we say, okay, Mike linebacker calls our defense, backup's going in. We got somebody new trying to call the alignment, and we got coaches signaling it in. But then the last thing is we wanted to be able to create situations that maybe hurt us in a previous week or maybe last year in that same game if it's a conference game, and then make points of emphasis in our coaches meeting to apply into practice. We want to put pressure. If we know that our corners are getting beat outside release routes, we want to put pressure not only on the corners but on the defensive back coach. In this scenario, when you feel the sticks are at this, and this is the scenario, this is where they tried to attack us, and this puts the coach really coaching in and trying to communicate and pass the communication across the back end. And the last thing that we do is we really want to evaluate our film at the end of practice, especially coordinators. We spend a lot of time through the week trying to break down film and make sure that we have a clear understanding of what's going on, what we're getting, just like a classroom teacher. What stuck, what didn't stick, what needs to be revisited, and what are we doing well right now. And then really it's to kind of generate more coaching points that you can do post-practice or in your pre-practice periods. Really game-like coaching mode is really big. Points of emphasis for us is I don't want coaches on the field. A lot of times I think that the offensive coordinator gets real frustrated, when defensive secondary coach, DC, and linebacker coach are standing right behind the defensive formation. Well, now you've taken away the middle of the field. It's almost like playing cover 2 with an extra safety being your coaches. So we clear everybody out. I put defense on one side of the field. I put offense on one side of the field. And the scout team defense are typically made up of our second and third string guys. So they're looking at their coaches. They're getting their front, their assignment, alignment. The secondary is getting what they're going to do. And then the offense is looking to the offensive side. And we're all signaling in plays as if it's Friday night. Now, the other things that we try to do, we bring out our speakers. We'll have – if there's a song that's attached to the school, we just blare it. If there's a band sound, if there's a crowd noise, if there's anything, we want in that moment as much confusion, because on Friday night, you're not going to turn around and tell your band, hey, don't play the Flight of the Bumblebee during this drive. You're not going to say, hey, don't play the fight song right now. I want as much noise and as much intense pressure as I could put on the kids and the coaches, because the coaches have to think plays ahead. When you're calling plays, you're calling the immediate play. Then you've got the play if this goes good, the play if it goes bad. How do you respond to that? We have the chains out there, and then we let our managers. You say, Coach, how do you personnel this? Well, we'll have a manager or a injured reserve player that's not practicing that week. They'll be the ones that spot the ball. They're the ones that run the change. So we've got that going on. And then really and true, we try to do play tempo. We play tempo reduction. Can we go fast when we want to go fast? We got the defense in a formation we like. Can we keep it up tempo? Or have they threw us a little curveball? Do we want to slow it down in our own language? Do we do a freeze call? Do we do a check with me? Anything to kind of just throw anything off balance to just really let us as an offensive staff have the change of possession or the change of direction and flow. So really and truly, the players have to be able to understand communication. Communication's key. I think you implement that spring ball in summer, obviously in fall camp. But when we get into game weeks, we're going to have to be able to communicate with each other really quick and be able to be affirmed in when the coach puts it into the secondary leader, he gets it to the whole secondary. When you get it to the box is able to relocate that stuff and that information. If it's the Mike linebacker for us, he's communicating not only the defensive line, but to his Sam and his Will and let them know kind of what we're doing, or to the rover. The big thing to check here as a coordinator is make sure your alignment, little notes. I'll tell you, the best thing I ever took from Mac Brown was take an index card on the front side, write everything that's positive. He did a plus and minus card. The things that you like, the things that you wanted to replicate and continue to do in practice. On the back side, you're probably going to have a lot of these. These are the negatives or change. And you just go through and make little notes like, hey, I felt like we were off sides a little bit. I think we got a little flustered. I think we weren't getting aligned right. I felt like the offense had the edge. I felt like today defense had the edge. They were influencing with their pressures, and you also have it scripted. But what I try to do is in these fastball periods, I, as the head coach, surprise my coordinators. I just throw out the fastball period. I separate the teams. We go to separate sidelines, and they have to call on that. I'll stand in the middle of the field. I'll make the announcement like, hey, it's 3rd and 10, offense down by 4, defense get a stop, win the ball game. Let's go. Blow the whistle, go. There could be incentives for the offense. There could be incentives for the defense. However you want to pose that. Sometimes we have a booster club that bring in Gatorades. Like if there's a big explosive play, if there's a turnover generated, we're in an offensive service period and a scout team defensive guy makes a play, hey, you earned a Gatorade. If the whole unit does their job, maybe they have a reduction in the conditioning at post-practice. So we try to figure that out. When you're looking at it on Sunday, building scripts for game day are key in terms of building your play script for Friday night. But we want to build scripts to where through the week, we're able to have those applications real world. We're able to see, okay, we talked about it all Sunday. We're going to install, we're going to stay with our base when our fastballs on Monday. By Tuesday, everything should have been implemented that you want to throw differently or have an adjustment to your opponent. So by Tuesday, we're scripting post-practice Tuesday, what worked, what didn't work, what do we trash, what do we love. Wednesday, same scenario. What we loved on Tuesday, do we still love it on Wednesday? Does it get an asterisk? Is it something that we feel solid adding to our first 10 and Friday night script? Opening script, or is it something that I'm 50-50 on? Because what we have to identify and utilize within our huddle reports and our analytics side is if we don't feel with an utmost confidence that we call it, they execute, and it's productive, we're not going to call when we're in flow of game and we're 4th and 1 and we need that first down. We don't want the kids to think, holy crap, it's 4th down. I just want them to hear, hey, power right, go. Or counter left or power switch, or hey, we're going power left M hole. If we do anything like that, we want it to be they know the play, they run the play. I don't want them focused on the sticks. I don't want the pressure of the scenario to get them. A lot of times I've done a session before where we've talked about analytics and how do you implement that into your play call system. I think the analytical side is somebody has to be the deciding factor. A lot of times I communicate with my coordinators. I'll say, hey, like we're going for it here. It's 3rd down territory. It's 2 down territory. That's what I'll just say. That just lets him know as soon as you call that 3rd down play, unless we're going backwards on a penalty, unless something massive that we have to reduce the trauma, as long as it's something productive. Let's say it's 3rd and 4. Now it's 4th and 3. We're going to go for it. And sometimes when you look at it, it's like, why did you go for it in that gray area? That's where it comes into play. So when you're building the scripts, get your group work, team scripts are going to be different. You're going to find quick, precise passes that help maintain possession, build a play from the back, find things that are crucial in tight spaces. What do you feel most comfortable in 4th and 1? 4th and 1, you're going to find a lot of pressures. 4th and 2, anything 4th down, but especially short yardage, you're going to feel C gap to A gap pressure. A lot of times the edge is going to be flirted with, and they're going to bring some dudes down out of the box from the secondary down into the run fit. So you're going to have to feel what is your confidence level in those tight spaces. We want to add specialty periods. We do that. We put in a screen and an RPO period. If we know that the fastball is going to include that, we will add that in there, and we'll try to have those periods beforehand. We do this as team. We don't do it as half line because I don't want the left side of the line to sag when we're running to an RPO to the right side. I need it full sold, full sail. So we use powerful, accurate passes to switch that play across the field, exploit the gaps in the opponent's defense. The 2 to 3 fastball periods per practice, one in each phase of the game. We do these in special teams. We want to be able to split defense, giving forward opportunity to score. Finding the timing there will be key for us, is to put that pressure. I want vertical attack there. We don't do east-west anytime we're in a fastball. Everything's going to be downhill. Building scripts for game day, where we tie in huddle. What you can see on the right-hand side, this is actually moving into 25-26. This is some scout tape that I have on an opponent that we're going to play in the first couple weeks of the season. So you're able to see how many plays in a matter of 5 games from last year. Now, granted, you're going to say, well, coach, their roster changed. Yeah, true. The roster changed, but the coordinator didn't. The way this throws you a curveball is if they go and they hire a new coordinator. If the coordinator is still the same, he's got tendencies. Even when you sit in meetings with your coordinators, coaches, and even if you're a coordinator, when you do self-eval, if you're not a forward applicator of the self-evaluation that you do on yourself, typically we're all trendy. Typically we all fall in. As well as I do, you've got your 3rd down calls. There's probably 3 that you feel the best about. There's probably 2 or 3 calls in 4th down scenarios that you feel quick change of possession. So if you're not scripting yourself, which a lot of coaches I found don't, I break down this film and I get this window on huddle. It basically tells me what kind of coverage, what formation they like to be in. If you could see kind of further down on this sheet, and I didn't scroll down, I just wanted to screenshot this. It kind of shows you like where they're most explosive. Where does that coach feel confident in taking a shot? A lot of times you will find these windows. Where does these coaches like to find their blitz package? I mean, some dudes, they want to try to flip the script early, get you behind schedule 1st and 2nd down, so they attack that early. So we want to locate that for analytics, utilize this. Then you're designing your weekly plan. If you're an offensive guy, which I'm on the offensive side, is basically utilize finding the front. What is the blitz package? Don't worry about trying to find the key blitz first. What is the package? Where do they bring their pressure from? What I would say is in a fluke scenario, he ran 1 corner blitz at the end of the 3rd quarter of game 3, but he's never done it any other time. That's probably just something that he just pulled out of pocket in that moment. If he's a double Buckeye, he's sending two A gap bullets, anything like that. Those are things that you're going to see tendency from. When does the pressure come? Is it early in the set or is it later in the set? A set being 1st through 4th down, finding when he is set driven to push his pressure. How do they respond to tempo? Are they blitz heavy when they're filling their back against the wall, when they're gasping for air? Or are they blitz heavy if they're stagnant, standing around trying to bring their own? Do you give them the cards in certain situations to let them kind of show their hand early? What is the place you want to attack? We have a saying in our coach staff, probably use the same. Where's Waldo? We try to find Waldo and we try to find his twin. If we can find 2 Waldos on the field at one time, we try to know that we have 2 different areas and 2 different places on the field that we want to attack, that we feel like we are better, we are more skilled, and we can dominate that guy. That's the guy you want to run the ball to. We want to pick on him and throw in his ankle. And so when we design these on Sunday, don't think that these things are basically concrete in our plan. Our plan is basically concrete, but it's probably like quick-rete, not like concrete out the back of the truck. Quick-rete meaning I can take a sledgehammer, I can bust that thing up on Monday if it didn't fit, or if something looks disarray, or maybe we just go into it and we had 4 or 5 plays we felt confident about, and really we come out of the storm, we've got 2 out of the 5 that we feel pretty solid with. So we're able to adjust that. Then Monday, go at it a different angle. Tuesday, Wednesday, So that being said, it's trial and error, but really we're trying to give the test early before the actual test. As a school teacher, you're going to give pop quizzes, pre-quizzes. You're going to do check with me's. You're going to do check-ins and all that before you get to the final exam. Football coaches get 10 final exams every Friday. And so we're trying to utilize those and say we've got to test before we get there because we don't want people to freak out when they get under the light. So where does this show up? In the video clip that's fixing to play right here, we're against one of our county opponents. It is in that gray territory. Ball was actually on the 34. It's like 4th and 2. People are going to say, hey, you punt this away, live another day. But we utilize this in our prep work along with analytics to generate decision-making tool for these game nights. Based on the weekly scenarios, we were able to run through 3 or 4 of our base run plays. If you see in the bottom, we're also faking that RPO to see if we can hold. Later in the game, we actually hit them for a touchdown because we noticed that the safety going to take a false step. That corner is going to bail now, get into the run fit. That outside backer is going to plug. They're really focusing in on the run. That was going to open up for the RPO later. We chart these plays in the press box. We write out what we call in these short gray areas, in these 4th down calls. We write it plus or negative. I believe in doing this early. First quarter, second quarter, you got to try it early. I don't want the game to come down to 4th quarter. This is the make or break play, and there's so much pressure. We've been doing it. We know we can get it. There wasn't a change, and we know what their answer was. When somebody's answer, you have an idea of where they're going to go to fix what didn't work. So it gives us a chance instead of just guessing in that scenario. It's like, okay, this is what they ran at us. We talk about it at halftime. We make little notes on our call sheet. So if we go out and we have that scenario pop up in 4th down in the 4th quarter, we're able to say, okay, he went to this front, brought this pressure. In this scenario, in this play that you're watching, if this was to occur in the 4th quarter, we would probably go ahead and throw that bubble outside because our outside Z's got a good angle on the corner. The free safety's flying on the read with the run, and then that bubble's out there. We'd probably launch that out there. So another place it shows up, both show flow and offense, allowed us to go for it, 4th and short in the gray zone, and it was able to gash. And the reason why is we practiced this probably 25, 30 times that week in practice to where our kids knew to respond. Defensively, we take these same tendencies, we flip them, have huddle reports. This was just a practice prep. We played in the second round of the playoffs against Reedsville. We knew we were outmatched. They had Division I athletes all across the board skill. What we felt like is in film, we saw their quarterback was very mobile, wanted to get outside the pocket. He stretched plays and be able to get the ball stretched downfield. We knew he didn't want to be in the pocket. If you watch the defensive front there, we did like a fishnet thing. We told our kids, do not chase after him. Don't go downhill. Don't try to pressure flush. If he wants to run it, we'll sit on net underneath. But we wanted to do that. But these team periods we spent all week, I think I repped this 50 to 60 times Monday through Wednesday, and it replicated and it put us in a good position. As you see here, instead of getting to the open receiver, we were able to fume that quarterback out, flush him out through the middle, and we were able to shut that down and stop it. So we were able to take this and apply it against a quality opponent. JV varsity crossover special teams. I know some of you in here are special teams coordinators, or you have a little dabble. We want to generate competition, excitement to special teams with fastballs. We offer Gatorades for explosive plays, conditioning reductions, like we said earlier. And then we find a captain for Thursday and Friday nights determined on a special team standout. Kickoff, these are just some goals that I wrote down. I can flesh this out. We can talk if you ever want more information. But we didn't want explosive plays of 25 yards or more, tackles under 10-yard returns for punt return. Same thing, no explosive plays, 25-plus yards, tackles under 10 yards, fair catch due to coverage, getting down the field, kick return. Obviously, we want touchdowns or explosive plays of 25-plus or more, and then punt return was just a clean catch and a positive return, a touchdown or an explosive play of 25-plus yards. So that's how we built those crossover fastballs in the special teams. Don't want to leave our kickers, snappers out, so we're able to implicate and find ways to do that in the middle of practice. So like a review of what we kind of covered today, scenario simulation, we simulate the game with real-time coaching. Also, remember, you've got to put your coaches in scenarios where they've got to coach like they're going to coach from the sideline. It's easy to stand on top of your athletes. It's easier to instruct when you can be hands-on. How do they get one-word coaching points out? One thing about our offensive coordinator at the time, Zach Searcy, used to say is if you can't get it out in 2 words, you got to find a different way to coach it. What kind of trigger words do you have in your position group that you can say to them? They know, I didn't do this. I got to reaffirm this next time. Evaluation through film, create adversity to test the resolve of your players, whether it be fake phantom flags, or you just go ahead and do something that you think may, try to forecast your opponent, forecast what they're going to bring, forecast when they're going to attack your team in that same fashion. Also, we bring speakers out, we blare music, but we also, in these periods, we crank it up. I want the coaches screaming, I want the players hollering. Communication's key. If you can get lined up and you can get your assignment right, 90% of the time, you're going to be in a good positive play. Game plan scenarios, again, when you're strategizing this, develop these scenarios to create familiarity for your players. So in the game, it becomes second nature. Muscle memory is key here. Formulate your plan. Know what's going to be given from the opponent. If the opponent's a 3-man front, practice that, prep that, and fastball that. If they're a 4-man front, fastball that. If they're blitz heavy, if they're very aggressive, fastball that. Play around with tempo. Play around with go fast, slow down. Do that. If your kids jump off, let them see the reward. Move the chains. Also build in scenarios where you have to score. I don't like play set drills where you just get a first down and you stop. Well, then the kids feel like, hey, I succeeded. I got 10 yards. Yay. No, let them continue the drive till they stall out and then say, okay, look, we got on this trend. We were able to get a 13-play drive. We come away with a field goal there. Or if they score, yes, we're +6 to it. Let them see the gains of their work. The last thing really is incorporate methodology in your practice. Design the practices to teach, rep, and replicate your scenario for not only that, but your coaches. If you play fast, be fast. If Friday night you want to be fast in practice. Don't have a slow to fast tempo. Be able to go fast to where you can slow down. If you're a huddle team, have the play clock ready. Put those constraints, announce to those players what the play clock looks. So really, that's the key takeaways for my session. I wanted to do something a little different. A lot of times we can do X's and O's, but sometimes you got to think outside the box of how to prepare your practice plan, how to prepare your game plan, how to get things situational so that when Friday comes, the game is truly easier than it was in practice. So really, truly, as I finish up here, reach out anytime. There's my email, school email, my Twitter. If anybody's got questions, please obviously ask, because I think that, the big thing is if you don't ask it, there's no bad questions. Same thing too, if you don't want to ask in this open forum, want to send me an email, feel free to do that, because really you may throw a curve that I don't even understand myself that I want to look into. We're all learning. It's an ever-changing game. Never would have thought that analytics and reports would trickle down to high school, but it has. And so, I think that if you set out your practice goals within your game plan, everybody focuses on how to respond that next Friday night. I think we have to figure out how to respond solely Monday through Wednesday. If we can respond in those practice days correctly, then I think on the back end, we'll have more fun, so to speak, as coaches putting the puzzle together on a Friday night.
Coach, I appreciate you. That was, if you didn't buckle up, you was getting left behind. I appreciate you a lot. Like you said, it's different. It's relevant though. Everybody, you have to have a practice script, right? And you got to be able to, communicate and have a plan, and give your kids the best tools to succeed. And I had guys texting me being like, that, like, so 100%. I love what you were talking about. I think we're going to implement some of that stuff as well into our practices. And I love the fastball, switch it up, put your kids on their toes. And so as well as your coaches, put them on their toes as well. But I loved it.
Well, thank you again. Thank you for what you're doing for high school football, man. This, sometimes the comforts of home, being able to attend a clinic and being able to do this from the comforts of not having to travel, getting to still do family time and stuff. It's instrumental, and we appreciate what you're doing, Coach.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.